Hey, what is up guys? It's your boy Speed here, and today we're going to be going over the top 3 heroes for each role. We're going to be starting with the safe lane all the way down to the position 5 role, and let's get into it. So the heroes I've picked for this list, well, I have a couple of honorable mentions, but the top 3 heroes for each on this list are heroes I think are particularly good in your average pub, right? Obviously I can make a tier list for just the pro scene, but it would be a little bit different. These picks should be the best for the games that you guys are playing, and let's get into it.
Alright, before we get into the main part of the video, I do want to let you guys know that I'm not only posting videos here on YouTube, I also frequently post videos on the website. If you don't know what I'm talking about, almost every single day I'm posting a new video to the Game League website. We're going to teach you guys in depth about how to get to the next level. So if you want to become absolutely broken, click the link down below and sign up.
Alright, starting off with the safe lane for our honorable mention, we have Arc Warden. Arc Warden is a hero that is just good right now. There's a lot of pros picking up on it, and I think it's going to continue to gain popularity as people begin to master the hero, right? I think Magnetic Field is one of the most crazy abilities in the game, and as long as you pick this hero on Dire, it's a very good laner that scales incredibly well. Yes, they did nerf Midas, which did hurt this hero a lot, because Midas is this hero's best item. It's okay, you still get 2 of them, and that makes the nerfs not that big of a deal. So yeah, Midas, Maelstrom, into Mjolnir or Gleipnir, into a BKB, a Hurricane Pike, and then like Butterfly is a great way to play the hero. Alright, coming in at number 3, we have Meepo. And there's going to be a little bit of overlap because maybe this hero is also on another one of the roles, but Meepo is one of the best heroes in Dota right now. It might be crazy for me to say that, oh, this is like the best for your average pub, but if you're even decent at Meepo, like you don't have to be crazy good at this hero. If you're decent at Meepo and understand how to farm on this hero, you will do very, very well. The reality is at level 7, you one-shot creep waves. At level 4, you're very good at laning. At level 5, you can jungle if the game is hard for some reason. Your hero really can do it all. And I particularly like him in the safe lane because I think the hero thrives best when it's allowed to farm for the first 11 minutes outside of the occasional gank where he uses the portal. And this hero is incredibly good at using the portal in the safe lane because the safe lane puts you behind the opponents, right? If you portal from the off lane to the safe lane, you have to run a country mile just to get to the portal, and then even to close the gap on the enemy team, it's just difficult, right? You have to go even further. So yeah, this hero as a safe laner, better for ganking, better for XP, better for the farming, and it's just strong. Mega Meepo and Dig is just too good right now. From there, we have Abaddon. I know this one is also a little bit crazy, but I've played against carry Abaddon a lot, and this is the highest winner hero in all of Dota right now. If you don't believe me, look on Dota Buff. It really is the highest win rate hero at 55% win rate. And so what is so good about Abaddon carry? Why is this hero not an offlane anymore? As an offlaner, it's literally played as a carry, right? The offlane build that is good is also carry. I do think it's slightly better as an offlaner, but it's still extremely good as a carry. So what is the build that you go? Well, I think there's 2 major builds. You can either go Mage Slayer or Echo Saber, and then into Manta. Of course, you're also going to be buying Wand, maybe a Wraithband, maybe a Bracer depending on the lane, and some people buy Corrosion if the lane calls for it. But this hero is just really powerful. Timings it hits are insane, and this is more of a tempo carry, right? It's a carry that gets active, wants to fight, because it doesn't have any real cooldowns. The only cooldown it has is Borrowed Time, which is like about a minute cooldown depending on the level. And from there, you just use Manta, right? Manta on this hero is broken. It's the best Manta carrier in the game because it applies Curse of the Avernus. So if they're farming a creep wave or a creep camp, the Mantas that is, they can easily wipe through it. On top of that, Curse of the Avernus does 130 damage per second once you hit level 15, which is a ridiculous number. So yeah, you're gonna max shield, max the E, and battle with your team. It's gonna feel incredibly good. And finally is Faceless Void. I think Faceless Void is the most reliable carry of the patch. Ever since the change to Maelstrom, this hero went up in win rate. I also think it was kind of just a meta shift that enabled this hero a little bit. Less unit heroes, right? Helm Dom is kind of out of the meta, and that pace of the game is not very favorable for Faceless Void. I would say Auras being out of the meta is also pretty favorable for this hero. We don't see a lot of Crimson Pipe, and I think that's pretty rough for Void when people group up and buy these items. There's a lot more like Shivas, which isn't that big of a deal for this hero because you buy BKB and Mask of Madness, and I would say you're pretty good. And even when they have like a ton of armor, you do a lot of magic damage. So yeah, I would say the hero just kind of fits into the meta. It didn't really get nerfed. And so yeah, just the top meta carry. It's funny because the hero didn't really get buffed, but everyone kind of ubiquitously agrees that this hero is just good. The win rate shows on Dota Buff and Dota 2 Pro Tracker. All right, getting into mid laners, the honorable mention is Ember Spirit. I actually think this might be, I would argue he could be number 3, 2, or 1 on this list. And the reason why is Mage Slayer Ember is just so damn good right now. right? The buff to Mage Slayer, making it more of a well-rounded item, and just a buffed item in general, is best on Ember. I would say there's no other hero that uses it better than Ember. Why? When you Sleight of Fist the enemy team, it applies it to every single one of the heroes. Every hero it hits gets the effect from Ember Spear. And that's incredible. That's just absolutely incredible, because this item reduces spell damage by 40%. Imagine an early game team fight. On top of that, everything you slight takes 20 damage per second. This is good for pushing in creep waves. It's good for chipping down heroes in team fights. I mean, you just do so much damage. And the popular build right now is Mage Slayer, broken item, into Shiva's, broken item. Right, this hero uses both of them incredibly well. Why Shivas? Well, you remnant into the enemy team, and you can also move around the Shivas with Sleight of Fist. So you can click Shivas, click Sleight of Fist, and it will move around in the team fight, giving a ton of vision and applying it to all the enemy heroes. Then coming in at number 3, we have DP, a hero that was buffed in the recent patch and is one of the best Shiva buyers in the game. She's also great with Eternal Shroud, and so nothing's too crazy new about the hero. In fact, it got nerfed in the most recent patch, but it still is one of the most broken Dota heroes in the game. I think it is just extremely reliable. And so yeah, it's this very, very powerful Shiva's buyer. Great mid lane in my opinion. Applies tempo, plays fast, unkillable, very strong. Then we have OD, a hero I thought would fall off with the Solar Crest changes. I thought it really was just a Solar Crest hero, but I've had multiple ODs in my game and they're just absolutely annihilating people. I think some of it actually does have to do with the Shiva's guard meta. I don't think this item is very good against OD outside of the attack speed slow, but once you have Witchblade Midas on this hero into like Hurricane Pike, you have plenty of attack speed and you can just rip through these tanky heroes with pure damage, completely ignoring the armor and the magic resist that is often purchased nowadays with items like, well, the Shivas and Eternal Shroud, right? You completely ignore it. Also, a couple things to note about this hero is the upgrade of Witchblade Parasma is really good. It kind of is weird because lowering the opponent's magic resist, which is what Parasma does, isn't necessarily good with the pure damage that comes from the Q. However, what I will say is it just builds from straight int, it builds from Mystic Staff, so it's just this really good late game upgrade that gives you a stupid amount of damage on the Q. And then finally, the Ags is really, really powerful. This hero's Ags is just nuts. I don't think it's something you rush, I think it's something you buy later on, right? For instance, like a build that I like is the Witchblade or like Witchblade Midas into Hurricane Pike into Ags. And the Ags turns your mana pool into HP, and you become extremely unkillable. It's really impressive how good this hero can frontline. Alright, and finally, the best mid of the patch is Meepo. I know, he was on the safe lane list, but I really think this hero is even better as a mid. It's pretty easy to lane mid. Your hero's base stats, 330 movement speed, 8 armor, make you pretty unkillable for most heroes due to the the base stats. And then when you hit level 4, you can just roam, or you can jungle, and you hit obscene timings. This hero can hit level 11 at like minute 10, and then there's just Meepo's farming everywhere, running around everywhere. You don't feel safe in any of the side lanes because Meepo is just everywhere. This hero is insane. It's ridiculously hard to deal with, and I just don't think that a lot of the things in the meta are that good against it. You would imagine Shiva's is pretty good, and yeah, it is, right? Shiva's is pretty good against Meepo, but it's just not enough. You just gotta get decent at the hero. I know I'm repeating myself before, but previously, the hero was countered by like AoE damage, kind of, or like AoE disable. But nowadays, if you just don't burst the Meepo because you have too much AoE disable, he just stacks himself on top of each other and then poofs and one-shots your ass. Like, this hero's just ridiculous. All right, coming in for off lane, the honorable mention is Lone Druid. It's a hero that got completely nerfed, but I still think it's pretty good. It's a scaling hero. Buy the Wraith Bands at 25. Diffusal Harpoon, you're chilling. All right, coming in at number 3, we have Timbersaw. Great Shiva's buyer. Ever since they buffed reactive armor, the hero's been pretty damn good, and really there's not too much to say besides that. It's a very good buyer of the meta items, and the buff to reactive armor made his hard matchups very, very playable. If you don't know what they did, they made it where reactive armor, you get 3 stacks every time a hero hits you, instead of 2. That's a 50% increase, and anytime something gets buffed by 50%, you better believe it's going to be much, much better. Alright, coming in at number 2 is Darkseer, one of my favorite heroes of the patch, one of my favorite heroes in Dota. Not only is it an incredible buyer of Shiva's Guard, but it's just one of those heroes that pushes in waves incredibly fast in a meta that wants to be played very quickly. Also, Guardian Grease got buffed, which is kind of something to keep in mind. I think a lot of people don't realize that. I think Mata Boots are in an incredible position. I really believe that this early Bass you can buy on this hero, then into a later Mata Boots, is fantastic. Also, after the Mana Boots and around when you want to buy Mana Boots and Soul Ring, you need a regen item. You have a couple options. Mech's in a good place, that item's fine, or you can buy Helm of the Iron Will on a hero that has decent armor but would love some more, and then you get the regen from that item. And then from there, it's just about stacking aura items. There's actually a couple ways you can play this hero. You can be like Shiva's Blink Hags, and that's pretty cool. It's like an obscene amount of damage you can do with this build. But I actually still think that just buying auras is good. Right? I really believe if you have Shiva's Pipe Crimson, no one dies. With like Greaves, no one dies. And finally is Abaddon. I'm not going to say too much because I talked about him already in the safe lane list, but the hero is even better as an offlaner. He can play really, really fast as this hero, has very few bad laning matchups, so you can pick it in basically any game. You can show up to every single fight, and it's kind of just brain dead. It's one of those heroes that is just easy to play. And I know people don't like hearing this, but the lower you go, the lower MMR you are, no offense, the better it is if you play a hero that's pretty damn simple. Like frankly, Timbersaw would have a higher win rate, and does have a higher win rate, the better you get, because it's harder. Even Timber, now that they buffed the E, it's honestly not nearly as hard as it used to be, right? The laning stage, if you put a point in E, it's just like, you're like invincible. But yeah, with Abaddon, very straightforward. The build is straightforward too. Yeah, I do think that there's some angle with like Vlad's Solar Crest, like some sort of heal build. I've seen some people go like mech Holy Locket, and it's cool. You know, you max the Q, max the W, you play this heal guy, and you will feel pretty good about that. Like, trust me, if you fight with like Holy Locket and mech on this hero with mana boots and like you go the Q and the W, I mean, it's cool. Like, there's an angle for that too. I don't think it's necessarily good the higher MMR you go because you can't really scale. So if the game progresses or prolongs, I think you're going to fall off. But I think in your average game, guys, like you can go either build. You can go the Echo, the Harpoon Manta, the Mage Slayer Manta, and you can feel really good about that. Or you can just go like the heal build. Getting into the position 4s, first off, we have Nature's Prophet. Ever since Teleport got changed where it has stacks that give damage, this hero can just get first blood in any game. And the reality is, after that, after it gets a couple kills in the early game because Teleport is broken, it can slow down the pace of the game and farm a Sprout, or play incredibly fast with the Wrath of Nature, plus Teleport and just continue to get kills. From there, you buy whatever item is necessary for the game, and this is why the hero is so versatile and so good. Is the enemy team heavy physical damage? Buy a Solar Crest. Do they have a lot of healing and tanky heroes? Buy a Vessel, right? Can you kill them with Orchid because they're a bunch of mobile squishy heroes? Buy an Orchid. I mean, you can do anything on this hero. You could buy Axe if your team needs AoE teamfight, right? Very versatile hero, good laner, can have so much impact in the early game. You just gotta be careful about griefing your lane. Like some people TP out too early, and that's, I don't know. I think some people just TP literally like 20 seconds into the lane and they just screw their lane. Coming in number 2, we have Lion. I mean, this hero is just so damn consistent. Mana drain max is good, guys. I mean, there's no other way to put it. You go 1-1-4, you spam the Q in the lane, you mana drain. And people used to do this back in the day, but it wasn't that good because mana drain just didn't do damage, right? It just didn't do damage. So it's like, why are you maxing a spell that strictly drains mana, right? It just wasn't value enough. But now, not only do you drain their mana, which was annoying and has been annoying, but you also do the damage. And it's a lot. 40 damage per second at level 3 is like kind of a lot. It like shit hurts, man. And it's my mana. Give me my mana back. Like, this hero is so annoying. And I really think that this like Shard Wraithband, Force Staff, or Shard Aether Lens Wraithband is just so obnoxious and strong, guys. Like, it's good. Then we have Winter Wyvern. Yes, I'm putting Winter Wyvern as the best position 4. I think if you can get out of lane, which this hero is better than ever at doing because the Q has been giga buffed, it's such a low cooldown, and the E has been very, very buffed. This ability heals for a lot nowadays. If you go Q and then E, and then you max the Q, sometimes I think maxing W is okay. The problem is W can be a very inconsistent spell. So generally nowadays, what I recommend you guys do is you go 4-1-1. You take a point of the W because it's good at level 4 for like securing kills and setting up kills. It does 100 damage. It's pretty good wave clear if you get left alone for farming. It's nice. Like, I wouldn't go 404. I think the slow on the W is just a little bit too good. But yeah, I mean, this hero is just does too much damage. And then build you go is Mage Slayer. Yes, you still can just go Orchid. There's also an angle where you just scale with like a Witchblade, but for the most part, I think Mage Slayer Wyvern is just crazy high impact. Mage Slayer gives you attack speed, so you can apply your Arctic Burn to everyone in the team fight. Gives mana, which is what you want. And then anyone you hit does less magic damage. And a big reason why this is so good is what's in the meta. If there's a DP, if there's an Ember, if there's an OD, a Timber, a Darkseer, right, a Centaur, right, all these very popular heroes. Viper was one for a while. I think he's fallen off a bit. But if you hit them with Mage Slayer from like giga high range, not only do they drop low from the damage, but they just do very, very little damage. And then you can go Blink, you can go Force Staff into like Pike and Scale. You can then go a later Axe if the game continues to progress. There's so many different angles for this hero. Yeah, let's get into the 5 role. And for the 5 role, first off, we have Pugna. I really believe Pugna is still just one of the most reliable heroes in Dota. I think you could replace Pugna here with like Wyvern or Lion as well. I didn't want to put them in the 5 list because, I don't know, it just felt like too much repetition. But the reality is, I would say Lion or Wyvern or Natures all could be honorable mentions here, and number 3 over Pugna. But the hero's just a good laner. It just enables a lot of the popular carries. Very good with Morphling. Very good with Faceless Void. Just kind of helps the heroes get through the early levels, and then these giga carries, right, will carry the game. It's like just the most reliable hero in Dota. If you don't know what to pick, or you're afraid of getting counterpicked, just pick Pugna. It can like do everything in every game, right? You just take all the early towers, you buy Mana Boots, which is a strong item now, right? Bassie's just good. You buy the Bassie in the lane, you spam your Q, you click Netherward in team fights, you're gonna have impact. You heal your teammates, you're gonna have impact. Just like play defensive in team fights, Don't try to drain the enemy. Drain them in the early game, but in the mid game, just play defensive. Put down another ward, decrep who gets stunned and or who gets omni slashed, and heal the person getting gone on. And like, you'll have so much impact. Next up is Treant. I know, after 8 billion nerfs, he's still in the meta. Treant Protector, the Tree Man. Crazy stuff, guys, right? I mean, the hero's been too good for too long. And if you don't hard nerf a hero when it's giga broken, which they've nerfed him so many times, he just is going to stay in the meta. I even think pros are underestimating this hero right now, or underpicking it. I say that because I think a lot of them just got bored. Like, the reality is, the hero's win rate's good. I mean, it's good on Dota buff. It's one of the top heroes. It's a 51% win rate. It's up there for position 5s. It's giga up there. The only other one I haven't put on this list that you maybe could put as well is like Venge. That's a bit of a side note, but I do think Venge is good. So, you know, a bit of a disclaimer. Solar Crest Venge, it's a good hero. But yeah, Treant Protector, I really think people are just forgetting about it. Like on Dota 2 Pro Tracker, this is actually one of the highest winner heroes in the game. It currently sits at a 53% win rate. And that's why I say I feel like I'm shocked people stop picking it. The mana boots are in a great place. The Bassi feels great. It's good for the laning stage. A hero has a very fragile mana pool, so in the laning stage, it helps it a ton. And then you just buy like Shard Solar Crest or Blink Shard, and you just have so much impact. It's just the same hero as before. Like, you still max lead sheet, and then you max your E. Some people go nuke, which is fine. You could push out wave shove and do a ton of damage. And you cook people. Same as before, nothing changed, still good. Okay. And finally, the last hero is the Witch Doctor. I know it's crazy. Still top 5 hero, 54% win rate. It can't not be on this list. Once again, only other hero I think could be in contention for like really obnoxious pub heroes like Venge. Generally, scaling is the name of the game, right? Scaling and being tanky tend to be nice. And Witch Doctor, he does it all. Also, the heal is good nowadays. I think the heal at level 1, it used to be bad because it was this, it was 10, right? And it did damage. And I would always say, okay, guys, the problem is you can't take the heal at level 1 because it doesn't do enough. Like, people would use it and burn all their mana and it wouldn't feel good. But now 20 heal, right? It's good for trading. It's good for healing your team. It pushes in the wave, which is actually good in the early game sometimes, depending on your strategy. It's good, man. You can take the heal level 1, or you can just go. I don't recommend scaling it more than once. I think anyone who maxes heal is just like insane nowadays. There's no way you max this, but I think the QE build is just good still. The Shard, even after 8 billion Death Ward nerfs, like literally this spell has been hit time and time again, Shard Ags, Blink, or Aether Lens Witch Doctor will prevail. There's no way around it. I mean, it's just the hero, especially when people are not careful about their positioning, destroys. Yes, I will be honest, the worse you are, the better this hero is. The higher MMR you go, the less you'll see Witch Doctor, because people will make an active note to burst the hero. The hero's laning stage is not very good, so you will get abused harder in the laning stage, and these two things combined mean that the hero will just not have that much impact in high MMR. And as a result, if you go to Dota 2 Pro Tracker, the hero currently sits at a 45% win rate. So I know you might be like, how are you recommending this hero then? It's for your average pub. The hero is good. It scales good in the mid game when you get your Q maxed out. When you have max cask, which is still the build in my opinion. Some people are max Maledict on Dota 2 Pro Tracker, but I think if you still max the cask, it still is pretty decent at wave clearing, and it does so much in team fights. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed. I'm going to be making a video very, very soon on the top 2 situational picks for each role. Kind of talk about some of the, not off meta, but like situational semi-meta heroes for each and every role. So if you're interested in that, like this video. So I know you guys want to see that. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out. And I'll see you in the next one.
And that's all. But remember, before you leave, come on, before you tune out, subscribe to the Game Leap website where we are going to help you get to the next rank. If you're stuck, click the link down below. And I'm out. Peace.